Welcome to the Armada EW Podcast with your host Thomas Withington at the controls. 10 years of Russian military reform has seen major investments in the country's air defences. New surface-to-air missiles like the S-400 safeguard the skies at home and abroad, while 6th-generation Su-57 fighters spread their wings. These assets will help fortify Russia's western military district, arguably her most heavily defended area. It is the WMD that would most likely cross swords with NATO in a future war. Defence analyst Konrad Muzyka, owner of Rochan Consulting, has published a detailed report entitled Russia's Forces in the Western Military District, part of which examines the district's air defence posture. Konrad, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Could we perhaps start by you giving us an overview of the air defence forces in the WMD?
Yes, of course. So the Russian air defense forces in the Western Military District are very robust, and the main task of them is to protect strategic sites all across the Western Military District, which also includes the Kaliningrad Oblast. In terms of units, we can say that there are two main units that are tasked with air defense. This first unit is the First Special Purpose Air Defense Army, which main task is to provide air defense coverage around Moscow. It comprises 3 air defense divisions, which are then divided into regiments, and then they are divided into battalions, and each comprises of individual batteries. Now, the first 2 divisions of the First Air Defense Army altogether field 9 air defense regiments, and they field a mix of S-300 PMs and S-400s. But the 3rd division comprises solely of a 135 anti-ballistic missile system, which protects Moscow against ballistic missiles carrying nuclear warheads. So that's the First Air Defense Army. In the Western Military District, we also have the 6th Air Defense Army. It comprises 2 air defense divisions. One protects St. Petersburg, and it comprises 5 SAM regiments, and the rest of the Western Military District is protected by just 1 SAM division, which has only 3 regiments. So we can clearly see how disproportionately the rest of the district is protected. The focus is on Moscow and St. Petersburg, essentially. One more thing, and when it comes to land forces, I think at the district level, it's worth to mention that the 202nd Air Defense Brigade is equipped with S-300V4 air defense system. So that's officially 400-kilometer range air defense system that apparently has the capability to intercept tactical and hypersonic missiles.
Okay, so if the army fought a defensive battle on Russian territory, how would its air defences work with those of the Air Force?
The division of labor would be that ground forces would provide tactical and operational level air defense for ground forces. Here we are looking specifically at this S-300V4 that provides air defense coverage of theater operation. And then we can go down to combined armies, brigades and regiments that provide air defense capability for ground forces. But the main task of the S-300s and S-400s would be to protect, the main strategic sites all around Moscow and St. Petersburg. So essentially, although S-300s and S-400s are mobile, I don't think that they will be much on the move in a high tempo conventional conflict scenario.
So staying with the Air Force, what are the distinct air defence tasks of the fighter units and the SAM units? How do they share that between themselves?
So from reading Russian Ministry of Defense press reports, I can say that fighters are predominantly preoccupied with responding to NATO quote-unquote threats in the Western Military District. So they provide, they conduct alpha scramble intercepts and so on and so forth. Interesting thing happened in 2014 when Ukraine was just about to kick off. Fixed wing and rotary wing air capabilities were dispersed, and reportedly, the entire Western Military District was protected by fighters all around the clock. And I can also assume that a large part of the air defense capability was also put on high alert.
Your report says that the Air Force may not have acquired cooperative engagement capabilities for radar-guided over-the-horizon engagement. Is this something the Air Force would like? And do you know if it's taking any steps in this regard?
I think the entire armed forces would like to have cooperative engagement capability, because if we look at other services, the Navy deploys the Bastion Bal Duo that are anti-ship missile complexes that also have a over-the-horizon range. Iskanders also have a range of 500 kilometers. And the Air Force, the air defense assets are getting ready to field the 40 MSEC missile, which has a reported range of 400 kilometers. So there's definitely a need to develop this sort of capability and to be able to engage targets in over-the-horizon mode. In terms of the steps that they are taking, there are actually several ways they are trying to bridge this gap. One is to acquire male-type UAVs. That should not be technically difficult, and I think this year or next year they will start possibly to field those male UAVs. Here I mean the Altius U UAV. The second step is to field a new AWACS aircraft, the A100. That should also provide them with a better picture of the battlefield. And the last thing is, what we've noticed is that Russians have been deploying new radar sites, which do not seem to be linked to particular regiments, but instead they report directly to regional air defense headquarters. And here I mean radars such as Gamma S1 or Niebo M or the Podlet K1. So all of these radars, they provide capability to track various air threats across different bands, and that should allow them to provide better warning, but also tracking should an attack occur on Russia.
Certainly a lot for us to think about. Konrad, thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, thank you very much for having me.
You can download a copy of Konrad's report at can.org/research/2020. Don't forget there's more EW news and analysis at armadainternational.com/electronic-warfare. That's all for now. Thanks for listening.